Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Lines. My name is Jet. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. As you can tell, I'm excited because it is Daytona week. I'm going to be at Daytona with a bunch of other YouTubers. I'm excited, cannot wait for that. But first, we have an Inside the Lines we need to get to. I know I'm a bit late with some of the stories. I do apologize. I've been focusing on schoolwork, getting that stuff out of the way so I don't have to worry about it during the weekend. And yes, but now I have the time. I have a lot of stuff to do. After this, I have to get ready to pack for Daytona because I haven't done that yet. So we got a lot to talk about, so let's not waste any time and jump right into it. We started with our Inside Lines rapid fire, and we begin with extremely sad news. Motorsports legend Robin Miller has unfortunately passed away at the age of 71 after a long battle with multiple myeloma and leukemia. Robin was an icon for his authoritative stories inside the paddock and for his outspoken and unfiltered comments that may have gotten him in trouble a time or two, but ended up him becoming one of the most respected and loved figures in the motorsports world. Miller was inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America in the class of 2021 a few weeks ago. Organizers of the event arranged a special ceremony at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway during the recent IndyCar NASCAR doubleheader weekend. Miller spent the day holding court as his favorite place on the planet. Surrounded by hundreds of friends from the sport he dedicated his life to covering. Miller is survived by his sister Diane and nieces Ashley and Emily. And of course also my condolences go out to Robin Miller and his family. It's been a tough few weeks, especially for the IndyCar Indianapolis Motor Speedway world. I mean, I think a few weeks, 2-3 weeks ago, Bob Jenkins passed away after he had a long battle with cancer. And now Robin Miller is unfortunately gone as well. On now to our next story. Darlington Raceway is going to have a bit of a facelift. Darlington officials were concerned about some areas up near the wall and turn 2 coming apart, so they repaved a 600-foot section about 32 feet wide in turn 2 of the racetrack. They miled and replaced about 4 inches deep into the asphalt, so it should be interesting to see when we come back for the Southern 500 next week, actually, at the time of this recording. That's right. Darlington is coming up next week. It'll be interesting to see how the repave might change how drivers attack the racetrack. And on to our final story of Inside the Lines Rapid Fire, the Coke Zero Sugar 400. If you are living in the areas of Daytona, Melbourne, and Orlando, and you're watching it at home, you're probably not going to see the race on NBC. According to Blue Green 1188 on Reddit, on those areas, the Coke Zero Sugar 400 will air on the CW network with pre-race on NBCSN. This is due to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the Houston Texans for preseason NFL football. I get it, I understand. Now, more than likely, this is probably an obligation that NBC affiliates with the Buccaneers, like they had to put the game on network television and can't put it off to the side on cable. They had to air it on network television, which I understand, you know, you made an obligation, fair enough. That's still so stupid. I mean, no one cares about preseason football. At least I don't. If there's someone out there that cares about preseason football, fine. But I've yet to meet that person so far. All right, now on to our main story. So we first start off with a returning sponsor, Subway. Remember them. If you know Subway, you probably mostly know them for their time in NASCAR with Carl Edwards when he was racing with Roush Fenway. Well, they left at the end of 2017 under very bad terms with the NASCAR fans, at least. Well, now they're coming back. Subway announced that they will sponsor 2 races for Kevin Harvick at Stewart-Haas Racing at Bristol and at Kansas later this year, and they will be an associate sponsor with Harvick for the remainder of 2021. Now, they will be replacing Jimmy Johns, who has been decreasing their support with Kevin Harvick and NASCAR in recent years, and finally officially have pulled out. Now Subway has been part of NASCAR, or at least has had a voice in NASCAR since the turn of the millennium in 2000. They've had a bit of a presence. Then in the late 2010s or early 2010s, they grew more and more and more. They became a primary sponsor for Tony Stewart for some years in 2008, or for some races in 2008. And they, in fact, won a race at Talladega. So it's kind of everything coming full circle. You know, Stewart and Subway, now they're back together once again. I said in 2017 they left on bad terms because they were a sponsor or sponsoring Daniel Suarez. But then they cut it off after Suarez did, like, I think a bit for, I forgot for who, but it was Suarez with a bit and was handing out Dunkin' Donuts. And Subway cut him off because of that, which was extremely petty way of ending a relationship. And yeah, NASCAR fans did not sit well with that. But they're returning back, so hey, that's good. I mean, I always like to see returning sponsors come back to NASCAR. I mean, it's good to see new sponsors, but there's something about recurring sponsors, or sponsors that were in the sport for a lot of years, left, and now are coming back. It's like with Busch Beer; they were in the sport for decades back in their heyday. Now they're coming back, and I don't know, something about returning sponsors I prefer more than just new sponsors coming in. But still, nice to see Subway coming to NASCAR to sponsor Kevin Harvick. On to our next story, Erik Jones. He now has arrived for 2022. He is staying put at Richard Petty Motorsports. Now, this has been speculated for a while that Erik Jones would return to the 43 car, but it was not been confirmed until last weekend at Michigan, where they made the deal official. Good for Erik Jones, especially I think, Richard Petty Motorsports and Erik Jones. Jones, he's a really good race car driver. I know his time at Joe Gibbs was not that good, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, Toyota is ruthless. I didn't think Jones was all that bad, but Toyota is ruthless, and they cut him after one bad year. But I think Erik Jones is a really good race car driver, and Richard Petty Motorsports could be a team that could be on the rise when we get to the next-gen car next season, because that's what a lot of new teams, or at least teams that aren't performing that well, they look at the next-gen car as a fresh, clean slate. Teams like Richard Petty Motorsports, Roush Fenway, even Rick Ware Racing. That's another team that are looking at the next-gen car as a fresh slate to start being competitive. So this could be, at least they know they got their driver settled for next season and can already focus on 2022. On now to our next story, and involves a NASCAR official, Jay Fabian. Now, he has not been a popular person by NASCAR fans. In fact, I think he's been probably hated by NASCAR fans, but he is sure as hell going to be hated after this story. So Jay Fabian, who is the managing director for the NASCAR Cup Series, he oversees the Cup Series garage. He has been arrested on, I can't believe this. He's been arrested and has temporarily stepped away from his duties to get this, face charges for animal cruelty. Yes, animal cruelty. What? Now, NASCAR issued a statement on this story. They said that NASCAR takes the situation seriously and will continue to gather information as it becomes available. Jay Fabian will step back from his role until this matter is resolved. NASCAR will have no further comment. Now, Bob Pockrass of Fox Sports went into detail of explaining what exactly happened. We know he's being charged for animal cruelty, but what exactly happened? And I'm going to read this out from Bob Pockrass. But he says, or it's reported, that Fabian's offense was for willful neglect of his dogs. One of the dogs died after being deprived of all necessary sustenance in which to live. A second dog was also deprived of necessary sustenance. Another dog was extremely dehydrated and starved. So 3 dogs, and they were all being treated like shit, basically. And one of them so much that that dog died. How much of a cruel person can you be to do that to your dogs? How? That dog trusted you, man. That dog was your owner, looked up to you, and you treat him like this. You, Jay Fabian, my friend, are a piece of shit, and you can go screw yourself. Now, there are some people that are a bit hesitant on this because of what happened weeks earlier with Eddie DeHaan, Chase Elliott's spotter, when he was arrested for, I think it was hitting a pregnant woman. I think that was the charge. I could be mistaken, but I think that was the charge. And that charge ended up getting dropped, and Eddie DeHaan was reinstated. This one, I don't know. This one I don't think you can compare the other incident where it involves another person. The other person could be covering something up or whatever like that. This is a dog. These are dogs. They have nothing to hide. They're just victims of this. They can't do anything to defend themselves. He may be stepping down, or at least temporarily stepped away from his duties, but he should not come back to the garage. If I'm NASCAR, I'd fire him immediately. I wouldn't step down, or at least, at the very least, suspend him. The fact that he himself stepped down, and the fact that NASCAR didn't suspend him, I'm not a fan of that move. I think NASCAR should have taken action instead of Jay Fabian doing the action himself. I think it would have been better for NASCAR to step up and do that. But when he's officially, sentenced or whatever the case may be, he should not come back to NASCAR. He should be fired, out and away. I never liked Jay Fabian to begin with. I've always thought he's done a bad job and overseeing the NASCAR garage, and I think under his control, because I believe he was hired in 2019. I think ever since then, the Cup Series garage has just gotten worse and worse. So I never liked him, and I'm kind of glad he's gone as of now. Now, what will happen when this is going on? They will have multiple people from the NASCAR officials, take, I think either collectively they'll have multiple people do one job, or they may select one person as the races go by. Like they might pick one guy for 2 races, another guy for another race, or they might just pick 5 or 6 people and have them work together to fulfill that job. I don't know which direction they're going. But as for Fabian, the offense happened on July 21st on Wednesday, so it happened about a month ago, but the warrant was issued for Friday, August 20th, so last Friday. And Fabian was arrested this past Monday, like I said, on animal cruelty charges. So yep, Jay Fabian, you absolute scumbag, and again, go screw yourself. Anyways, we move on. On to our final story. Now this story, I've been really excited to talk about. So, Adam Stern, again, dropping another atom bomb, said this, that NASCAR has had discussions with Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway to host a cup race in 2022. The 1.25 mile track currently hosts the Camping World Truck Series as well as IndyCar Series, where the series kicked off the playoffs with the opening round of 10 on Friday night. Not only that, Adam Stern also adds that the LA Coliseum, yes, the Los Angeles Coliseum, has also been in consideration for a race, a short track race. Okay, now, first of all, let's start with Gateway. I really like Gateway as a racetrack. I think it'd be a good thing to at least broaden NASCAR's market, to go to a new venue like St. Louis, which is, known for racing. So I think it'll be good to expand their market to new places, especially when you already have a very established racetrack that can put on some good racing. So I would love to see NASCAR go to Gateway for the Cup Series next season. But we got to talk about the LA Coliseum. Now, I believe someone on Reddit, I think, did a mapping of the inside, at least the football, the inside of the LA Coliseum. I think it was 0.3 miles, so a third of a mile, or 0.03 miles. I forgot exactly, but regardless, it's tiny. It's tiny. Back in the day, in the 50s and 60s, NASCAR did run in football stadiums. I don't know if you remember this, but way back in the day, they ran at Soldier Field. I think they had just one cup race at Soldier Field. I think also they ran a race in Ontario or in Toronto at a baseball stadium, I believe they also participated at. Now, the only football type stadium that still even runs NASCAR is Bowman Gray Stadium. I mean, that's an iconic racetrack. Everybody in NASCAR knows that racetrack. It's kind of a shit show, to be honest, but still, it's entertainment. But I'm very curious to see how that would work. I've always figured that if NASCAR were to race in LA, they would do it kind of like what they did with the NASCAR, I think back then it was called the Winston West Series in the 90s and early 2000s, where they had a street course in LA. I think they had that for about 3 years and then went away with it. That's what I assume NASCAR would do. And I think LA would be a perfect spot, because especially in LA. I think it would be a great spot for NASCAR to try and venture out to. But I don't know, the LA Coliseum, how would that even work, first of all? Because they said a short track. They said they're looking at it for a short track. First of all, how would that even work? Let's say you go inside the Coliseum and hold a cup race. You can have 40 cars with how big and bulky they are. It might seem cool in a video game, but I don't know. Like, they're literally taking, oh my god, I cannot believe this. They're literally taking Dodge Raceway Stadium from the EA Sports games and putting it to reality. That's literally, when I first saw this story, I immediately jumped to Dodge Raceway Stadium. That was one of my favorite tracks in NASCAR gaming. And part of me thinks it's cool, but another part of me thinks this is not gonna end well. I mean, think about it. So far, of all the brand new racetracks NASCAR's added this year, they have not gone that well. Bristol Dirt didn't go that well. I mean, there was a lot of issues with it. COTA, I'm pretty sure it would have been a lot better had there been no rain, but still, COTA was nearly a disaster. The Indy Road Course, it was good up until 10 laps ago, then the track came apart. I am very curious to see how would that even work. Like, I thought maybe they would race around the Coliseum, you know, because it's a bit bigger, you know, like it would be a lot longer in length. It could work, maybe, I don't know. Or you know, maybe how F1 was doing is doing their Miami Grand Prix, where they have a parking lot and have a racetrack around the stadium. Maybe NASCAR could do something with that. They could have a road course or a street course, have a race around the Coliseum. But a short track in the Coliseum, I have no idea how that's gonna work, but I am very intrigued. You may not like it, but I am extremely intrigued by if this is actually gonna happen. Let's say NASCAR is gonna race at the Coliseum. Let's say that's gonna happen. I really want to know how they're gonna pull this off, or at least how this is gonna work. But yeah, I mean, NASCAR is pulling some moves, especially on some new venues. I mean, did anyone have the Coliseum in their mind? I think when people thought, yes, switch up the schedule in NASCAR, people were thinking, okay, the Indy Road Course, maybe COTA, you know, or you know, Montreal, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, maybe Portland, you know, some like new established racetracks, you know, not a football stadium in LA. But I'm telling you, NASCAR, I'm gonna just say this. Get ready. Pull those belts tight and get ready, because NASCAR 2022, 23, 24, the future of NASCAR is gonna be extremely interesting. Weird, but very interesting, and I'm here for it. Good or bad, regardless. But yeah, that's going to conclude this episode of Inside the Lines, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Tell me what are your thoughts of any of the stories I talked about in the comment section down below. But until next time, my name is Jed from MPK, and I'll see y'all next time.
I never switch sides, like even when I die, I'ma ride for the squad, let her ties in the hearse.